Today's video is brought to you by Zool and Vigo, official couch warmers of Bert The Stormtrooper reviews. Hello and welcome, I'm Bert The Stormtrooper, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Ghostbusters Afterlife Plasma Series action figures. These are brand new and starting to hit stores right now as of the time of this recording. This is a 6-inch action figure line, and each figure retails for approximately $20. As always, I will put a link down in the description where you can get your own. And what I'm going to do here is, this is a set of 6 figures, right? So we've got the 3 that we've got here. I'm going to do this in 2 videos. I'm going to do this video for the 3 figures that we have here, which are going to be for Ray, Peter, and Winston. And then I'm going to do another video for the other 3 figures that are going to be the new characters introduced in the Afterlife movie, Trevor, Lucky, and Podcast. So taking a look at just these 3 right here. Of course, these are our Ghostbusters from '84, a little bit aged up because it's been a couple of years since we last saw them in action. And so the packages here, very cool packages. It's the new Afterlife packaging that we've been seeing. It's kind of got that background that looks like the actual jumpsuit. You can see the fabric itself and like the zipper and whatnot. And then you've got those name tags right there, Stans, Venkman, and Zedmore. And you can actually see Plasma Series right there. Very interesting that Stans and Venkman both have the warning, where Winston does not. That's kind of weird there. And of course, we got the Ghostbuster logo right there. We can see the figure in the window box for each of these. So you got the figure itself and some of the accessories that come included. So each of these figures come with a proton stream. They each come with a proton pack that is going to be wearable, and then they each come with an individual accessory. Ray comes with a book. I'm guessing that's probably going to be Tobin's Spirit Guide, if I'm reading that correctly. Venkman comes with his famous shaped cards. And of course, Winston is going to come with a newspaper right there showing us the classifieds. And then also, each one of these figures is going to come with a piece to a Build-A-Figure. So just checking out the back of the packaging, we're going to get a short bio for each of these figures. We're going to get a highlight. So we get to see the whole line of figures right here. We get to see all 6 of the figures, and then whichever figure you're purchasing is going to be highlighted. And then of course we can see that we have the Build-A-Ghost Sentinel Terror Dog, which is going to be our build figure. Very, very cool. This is an accompanying figure to the Build-A-Figure Terror Dog that we got with the classic 84 figures in the Plasma Series as well. Real quick, there is Ray's bio if you want to pause that and read it real quick. These are short. Actually, these are so these are short because they are multi-language, so you can see them right there. Here is the one for Pete, and finally here is the one for Winston. All right, so that's going to be it for the packaging. Let's get these guys opened up and check them out. And here we have Ray, Peter, and Winston out of the package and with all of their included accessories. And real quick, well, the first thing I'm going to do, first thing I want to show off and kind of get out of the way are all the parts for the Build-A-Figure, so that we can go ahead and set these aside, build the Build-A-Figure, and bring it back in for the end of the video. So Ray comes with what appears to be the right leg for the Build-A-Figure. Peter comes with, it kind of sucks because I am going to be losing my stands for the proton packs, but that's all right. We're going to be putting the proton packs back on these guys here in a little bit. So Peter comes with what appears to be the left leg of the Build-A-Figure. And that's an interesting difference in the 2 legs. I guess he's going to be doing an open pose like that, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm really curious to see how that's going to work. So there's the 2 legs that we got with these guys. And then Winston comes with, this appears to be the figure's left arm right there. So we'll go ahead and take these guys off to the side And that way we can bring the build-in figure in later in the video, and we'll concentrate on these figures right here. The other thing I wanted to show before we got rid of all the packaging is this insert that comes inside of each of the boxes. And these are all the exact same. And we just see kind of what looks like some technical readouts. We can see we got the black background right there and that grid pattern. And we can see a red technical, like almost like specs details for the Ecto 1. We can see the side of the Ecto. We can also see the front of it, part of it anyway, over here. Over here in this corner, we can see the PKE meter, and then up here at the top, we can see the proton pack and the thrower itself. So just a cool little background that comes included in each of these figures. Moving on to the figures themselves, I'm going to start off with the proton packs because the entire Plasma Series figures line, we've got 9 proton packs so far. And they're all going to be the exact same identical proton pack. So we're going to go ahead and just get these out of the way. The only difference between one proton pack and the next is going to be the placement of that red light on the cyclotron. As you can see, Peter's is on the bottom left. Ray's is on the top right there. And then Winston over here is on the bottom right. So I'd have to compare them side by side with the first 4, or I guess the younger selves of these guys to see if the light is the exact same place. But that's really all it is the light on the cyclotron is going to be painted in a different spot. Other than that is the exact same proton pack, and that one fell over. But wow, they all fell over. Okay. But anyway, the proton packs, I love the details on these guys. These look fantastic. These are probably my favorite, let's call these toy or action figure proton packs I have ever seen. They're just absolutely beautiful. The level of detail on this and the movie accuracy is really, really good. They've even gone ahead and molded in the Alice frame. Just the way that these work is really, really cool. As you saw in the package, the wand did come separate from the pack itself. And all you got to do is take your little hose right here and just peg it into the bottom and you're set to go. There's a little peg and a hole right there on the bottom of the wand, and you just peg that right in place. There you go. So you can have the figures either holding the wand in their hand or, just have the pack strapped to their back. So, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And as you can see, they're not really the easiest thing to stand up, so we're just going to let these guys just sit right there. In terms of other accessories included, we also get all 3 of these guys get their proton stream, and it's the exact same proton stream, which is also the exact same proton stream that we got with the younger version of Winston last year. So it's cool now that we have a set of 4. So if you want to take your younger Ghostbusters, you're going to take all 4 of them and have them all shooting proton streams. That's a thing we can do now. And of course, also Lucky came with a proton stream as well. Hers was purple, but now we've got a variety. We got stuff that we can pick and choose from. So the way this works is you can take your proton gun right here. There's a peg at the bottom, or rather a hole at the bottom of the stream, and you just peg it right into your wand, and there you go. Now your wand is shooting a proton stream, which is very cool. So again, all 3 of these guys come with the exact same proton pack, with the difference in the light there, and the exact same proton stream. Now, Ray came with, this is so cool, a copy of Tobin's Spirit Guide. Check that out. Very, very cool. It's just a book. It doesn't open or do anything like that. It's just a copy of Tobin's Spirit Guide. And of course, who else is going to carry this book around but Ray? If Egon is no longer with us, Ray's going to be the one to carry this book around. Unfortunately, the book is a little big to fit in his hands. I've tried some poses with him where I've had him just kind of holding it from the bottom sort of thing. It would have been cool if it at least opened in half so that you can make it look like you're reading it. But you can do stuff like this. This is, not the best because I'm doing it in front of the camera, but you can do stuff like this where you can have him just kind of holding the book. But unfortunately, he can't actually just hold it in his hand, which is a bit of a shame. But again, if this opened in half, maybe you could have him pose the way I was trying to pose him just now and just kind of have it like he has an open book. That would have been cool, but still very cool that they included that with Ray. With Peter, this is hysterical. He actually comes with the cards that he was using at the very beginning of the original movie when he was doing that mind reading experiment / con, which is very, very cool. You got the little playing cards with all of the different shapes right there. Now, you're going to want to be careful with these because, as you can see, these are individual little cardboard cutout pieces. Very easy to drop, very easy to lose. But let me just kind of go through them real quick. You got your plus sign right there. You got your circle. You got your star. You've got your square. And the infamous couple of wavy lines, you know. And we've got about 75 more to go. Not really. No, Peter only came with these 5. But there you go. Very cool little accessory. He can hold them in his hand. Yeah, just be careful with these because these are easy to lose. Fortunately, if you do lose them, I bet these are pretty easy to replicate as well. So there's that. That is what came with Peter. And then finally, Winston came with cardboard, a little piece of cardboard here that's made to look like a newspaper. And he is looking at the classified ads, and you get the little area right there that's been circled. So, you know, it's funny. You see right there's the Ghostbusters for Hire, and you actually have a description of the job right there. Very cool. Actually, all of the wanted ads have actual stuff printed on there. If you want to just kind of pause that, let me get my finger out of the way. If you want to pause that and read through them, it's actually really neat that they included all of that stuff in there. And of course, Winston famously, we were introduced to Winston because he was carrying a copy of the classified ads with him, and he was applying for work with the Ghostbusters. So that's really, really neat that they included that in there. And of course, he can hold that as well. Taking a look at the figures themselves, these measure approximately 6 inches tall. And we're going to start right here with Ray so we can see how he's aged. And, you know, I have to say, I have recently met both in the last year or two. I've actually done events with both Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson. So I can actually say these sculpts are actually a pretty good representation of how Ray and Winston have aged. And of course, everybody knows what Bill Murray looks like now. So again, all 3 of these figures are a very good representation of how these characters have aged. So let me just try and get in close right there so you can see the head sculpt. There you go. So yeah, it looks like aged Dan Aykroyd. Very cool. They've even added a little bit of white to his hair, which is very, very cool. There you go. You got your Stance name tag right there. The suit does look a little, I don't know, aged or darker or dingier than the suit that we had with the younger figure. And we'll see these side by side here in a moment. We get down to you got the elbow pads right there. You've got your gloves. You have all of the zippers are molded in. All of the pockets are molded in. It's really neat. All the level of detail that went into these guys. You got your belt right there. And right on the belt, you've got molded. You got a little hook right here. And then you've got your radio holster. You've got the what we call the belt gizmo, the leg hose, and everything going around to the back right there. And even the key fob is back there. So very, very nice level of detail on this guys. And then going all the way down to the bottom, taking a look at his boots, which look like your Cochrane 2 jump boots. Very, very nice level of detail. I always love the amount of detail and just love that goes into these guys. So to get the proton pack on this guy, you're going to reach over here to the side, and we're going to pop the side of the proton pack A-frame out. There's a peg right there on the back of the proton pack, and there's a hole on Ray's back. All of the figures are going to have the proton pack mounted the exact same way. So we're just going to work this over both of his shoulders. We're going to take that proton pack and peg it right into his back, and take this side piece and peg it right there. And that is it. Ray is ready to bust some heads. Get that hose. I don't like it when the hose goes around the arm like that. There you go. So there you go. There's Ray wearing his proton pack, ready to go. Let's take a look at, I'll do comparisons here with the younger selves here in a minute. Let's take a look. Actually, let's just do that now. Let's bring in Ray. And we'll bring these guys in side by side so you can see. I'm having a hard time focusing. I don't know what is going on with the focus on this today. But there you go. So you can see these guys side by side. And you see what I mean? The suits look obviously just a little older, a little dingier. Even their posture. You can see how straight young Ray is standing versus the older or the current Ray. Kind of looks like he's hunched down a little bit. And then, of course, you've got all of the sculpting differences right there in the head. You can tell that it's him, but he's also aged a couple of years. Very, very cool. All right, let's take a look at Peter now. Beep. And pretty much it's going to be all the same, except with, the body for the most part is going to be the same. The biggest difference that we're looking at here is going to be the head sculpt. So again, just a very good representation of Bill Murray and what he looks like today. Very cool. Same thing, you've got your posture. Looks like it's a little bit hunched over. I think these figures were a little generous with the weight. I think these guys are both sculpted a little thinner than they are today. That's no disrespect intended there. I am an overweight person myself, but the figures, the characters are sculpted a little thinner than their real life counterparts. I guess that's a good thing, right? I guess if somebody was going to make an action figure of me, I'd want to be sculpted thinner as well. So yeah, pretty much the exact same, except for the boots. You got your pants are actually not tucked in. Classically, the way that Peter always had his pants just kind of draped over his boots. So that's what this figure is doing here. But other than that, pretty much the same thing we've got going on. The belt is the same. You've got the radio on the side. You've got a key fob there. Where Ray actually had a hook. That's interesting. Ray actually I had not noticed that until just now. Ray has a hook and the other two figures do not. That's very interesting. But he's got his belt gizmo and his leg hose all going around in the bag. You got your key fob back there. All that good stuff. The proton pack is going to attach the exact same way. So we're just going to work that over his shoulders. Peg it into his back. And peg the sides right there. And now Peter is also ready to go bust some heads. We'll bring in the younger version of Peter. So again, you can see what these guys look like side by side. And again, very, very nice job on the aging and the sculpting done here. You can see they're the exact same person, just aged a little and or a lot, or anyway, just an aged version of the same figure. Very, very cool. The younger figure is a little thinner, stands a little straighter. The newer figure, the older figure, is a little thicker and is a little more hunched over. The posture, you can tell it's those little minute details right there that really, it's not just the sculpt of the face, but the other little details that really show off the age on these guys. And it's just a really, really good job done with the sculpting here. All right. Finally, let's take a look at Winston. So once again, we've got what looks like Ernie Hudson and the way Ernie Hudson looks today, which is very well done. Check that out. Very nicely done. You got your Zedmore name tag right there. Again, same thing with the body. Pretty much it's all going to be the same thing. It's the same molded jumpsuit. You got the same molded belt on this guy with the exception of the hook. Now, you'll notice that there is a little peg hole on the belts for both of these guys. This guy and this guy have a little peg hole there on their belts, where Ray, rather than a peg hole, has that little hook right there. That's interesting. I don't know that I have an accessory that hooks onto that. I mean, he didn't come with one. I'll have to look through the accessories from all the other figures to see if there's something I can hang there. That's very interesting. Of course, that would be famously for the goggles. You know what? Let me grab the goggles that came with podcast. And sure enough, yeah, these goggles are going to clip on here just perfectly. So I was just looking at the younger version of Ray, and his sculpt also has the hook on the belt, and that younger version of the figure also came with a set of ecto goggles. So in the first scene that we see them in the original movie, the first time that we see them all geared up, Ray does have his goggles hanging from his just above his right hip. Now, they weren't hanging from a dedicated hook. They were actually hanging from the radio, but the radio is a little bit further back here. So yeah, that's pretty cool, because I didn't like the way that these fit on podcast anyway. I kind of like this right here, and the fact that I can hang him on his belt. I think that is where those ecto goggles are going to live now. But anyway, getting back to Winston, yeah, same thing. So we go all the way down, and his boots are actually molded in and shown and all of that. So let's get his proton pack on him. Same exact thing. We'll unclip the side, fit it over his shoulders, peg it into his back, and then finally peg in the Alice frame. And he is also now ready to bust some heads in a spiritual sense. I cannot talk this morning. It is very early. All right, so let's take a look at him one more time, side by side with his younger self, so you can see what these guys look like together. And again, very good representation of Ernie Hudson and how he looks today. And again, you can see that the original or the younger version of Ernie Hudson stands a little straighter. The newer hunches over just a little bit. Just these guys look just a little tired, a little thicker, and a little older than their younger counterparts. This is really well done. Just those little details right there just really shows off the age on these guys, which is exactly what they're supposed to do. So now let's do this. Let's push these guys all the way back, because what I want to do is I want to put the entire group here. So we're bringing young Winston, and we'll bring in young Ray over here, and finally young Peter right there. So you can see all of these guys side by side and how they compare to the younger versions of themselves. Very, very cool. Let's get these accessories out of here. These are distracting. Yeah, check that out. That's really cool. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to display these, but I definitely think I want to get them at least on the same shelf so that you can see them younger and older. You know, maybe not side by side like they are now, but maybe like a group on one side and the other group on the other. Something nearby so you can really just kind of look and compare. That is just absolutely awesome. I love the difference in the suits too, how the younger ones look so nice and newer and lighter, and the newer ones look so much darker. Absolutely love that. So we'll get these guys out of the way. We'll do one more comparison. Let's bring in the kids. Let's bring in the young blood. So here is Trevor. Here is Lucky. And finally, here is Podcast. So you can see kind of like the whole group here. The only one we're missing is Phoebe. And I still don't know if we're going to get a Phoebe or not in this line. I haven't seen any pictures in any of the packages. But at least for what we have released now, here is the entire line for the new Afterlife. I really hope that we get to see this in the movie, where we get to see everybody suited up like this. I really hope this happens. I'm looking forward to that. Now, finally, the last thing we're going to show off is the Build-A-Figure, the Sentinel Terror Dog. This thing is absolutely awesome. I absolutely love the idea of the evolution of the terror dog, where he went from being just basically a terror dog to just a demon. He's bipedal now, and he's just this demon looking thing. Absolutely love this idea. I'm really looking forward to see how this fleshes out in the movie. So it's pretty much looks like a terror dog that stood up. And here they are side by side. So this is the one that came with the younger Ghostbusters figures. This was the Build-A-Figure for that set. So basically, it just looks like this guy stood up on his hind legs, which is very, very cool. The horns actually kind of like bent inwards and upwards to just kind of really make these very demon-like horns. Very, very cool. Not crazy about the legs being translucent. I hope that I would like to see a version of this figure that has articulated or posable legs, because as it is, this guy is kind of difficult to stand. Nothing specifically against the translucent. It's a cool effect, but I would like to see something with a solid color and something that I can pose. This guy is kind of hard to stand. But there you go. There's that set right there. And here we have one last look at the Ghostbusters Plasma Series Ray, Peter, and Winston, along with the Build-A-Figure Terror Sentinel Terror Dog, whatever you want to call them. Absolutely stoked for these figures, and I am just so much more excited for the movie that's coming out later this year. Love that they did the figures in there, or rather the characters, an older version of the characters, but that they're also suited up. And I love that they did a suited up version of the kids themselves. I don't know what's going to happen in the movie, but I hope, as of this moment, I'm just hoping that we get at least one scene with everybody suited up and geared up, because that would be just such an awesome kind of a passing of the torch scene, if you would. Again, I don't know what's going to happen in this movie. I'm just really looking forward to it. And these figures have got me even more excited for it. And I think that about does it for the Ghostbusters Plasma Series. Let's call them older aged. Ray, Stance, Peter, Venkman, Winston, Sedmore. What did you think of these figures? Let me know down in the comments. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified when I upload a new video. I've got a donate button up there. If you want to hit on that, I certainly would appreciate it. Please share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time.